Ready? Yeah. Let's start with injuries, shall we?
With the positives.
Why not? Partey, first of all.
Yeah.
What's the latest with him? Because the last we heard, he just got injured the day before the Seville game.
He's got a muscle injury, and we expect him to be out for a few weeks. We don't really know still the extent of it, and he has more tests today. But he picked up that injury in training, the last training session, the last kick of the ball, before Seville. So, yeah, very unfortunate.
Is it the same injury that he'd previously done?
No, it's something different.
And it happened in the training, but he obviously played 5 minutes for you, didn't he, against City, and then he went and played at Ghana. Do you think that might have contributed?
Well, I don't think so. He was coming from a period of absence, and he needed minutes, and he played with the national team, and we tried to be always in touch with them. And then we have 2 games with Chelsea and Seville very, very close, and we decided not to load him on the first game to play him in Seville, and then that happened in training. So sometimes it's difficult. You try to prevent. If we would get injured against Chelsea or against City, we would have said that we have rushed him, you know. But then you rest him and he gets injured. So it's things that happen in football.
And Gabriel Jesus, because you were quite concerned, him less so. Has he had a scan, and how's his hamstring?
Yeah, again, the scan showed that there is a muscle injury, and we might lose him for a few weeks again.
So maybe sort of after the next international break we'll see him? Or?
With Gavi, I cannot give you any time frames because he always surprises us. But there is something there. He felt in a really awkward action, and it's true that he had quite a lot of load in the last few weeks with the national team, and then playing those games, which he hasn't done in a long, long time. And yeah, that's really bad news for us.
We've spoken a lot this season about how you're in a much better place in terms of personnel and in your mind about trusting others.
Yeah.
So being able to rotate maybe the squad without those players, or looking at these next 2 games, how much better are you feeling about being able to do that, if you like, and particularly the way that your subs have performed?
Yeah, well, when we have 3 big players, now with Julian, there's a long-term injury, with Thomas, with him. One thing is to rotate the squad, and then the other thing is to have the squad available to pick the right players to rotate them in the right moment, because then you are rotating the squad, for the first game, but after the squad needs to carry on playing with the injuries, and this is what we want to avoid. But with the schedule that we have, the amount of games that we have is something that we knew was going to happen. It's happening to every club in the Premier League, so there's no difference.
And in a sense, it's maybe happened a little bit to your captain. Is there an idea that maybe he needs a little bit of rest, recovery? I don't know. He's not having the same influence that he would have had early on in the season. He set the bar obviously quite high. The last few games, he looked a little bit tired on Tuesday night.
We discussed that to get to the level that they perform and our front players last season. That's just very, very difficult to see. Well, it hasn't happened in the Premier League. So we need to be conscious of that. But that's about form, about as well putting him in better positions and doing things better in certain areas to help him to have the game that obviously helps him to exploit his qualities. And yeah, they have played as well a lot of minutes. And there's a consequence to that.
And just finally from me, because we're also speaking to Declan today, you've talked a lot about how surprised at how well he's gone. Does 100 million or so look quite cheap now? And how good has he looked in, particularly the second half when you really needed him, or in the games when you've really needed him to dig deep? How impressed have you been?
He's been terrific for us, and I think he has really perform at the highest level, especially on big games, and that's when you want to see your big players, and he has to step out there, and his contribution in these games has been really, really important. So really pleased.
Yep.
Hi, Mikel. Good
Hi.
afternoon. Chelsea and Sheffield United are 2 very different teams, but in terms of the performance, what's the biggest area of improvement you would like to see as a collective compared to your most recent Premier League game?
Against Chelsea, Especially the way we started the first 15, 20 minutes, especially the way we lost momentum by losing certain very, very key duels, and that changed the shift of and momentum of the game. And then for other periods, continue to do a lot of the good things that we do, but all the time seek to be better, to play better, to be more dominant, and as well to be more efficient, especially in the final thirds.
When you remove their defeat against Newcastle, Sheffield managed to really challenge most of their opposition so far. What do you expect for them tomorrow?
The same, yeah. Looking at the way they have played against all the top teams and how much they have suffered to beat them, all of them. Some of them scoring the 100th minute, some others really scoring late goals and being really tricky games. So we expect the same. They are fighting for their lives, like we want to win every single game, and it will be a tricky game.